Welcome to the Two Pints Radio Show with your host, that Nick guy. And today we're at Roadhouse in Newcastle, Indiana with a very special guest again today, Mr.
Derek Radford.
How are you fucking doing, sir?
If you want to call me that. I'm doing great, man. I really am. I work all the time, but who doesn't anymore?
Exactly.
And it's one of those things to where I'm happy to be back. I really am.
Fuck.
I love this shit.
Fuck yes, dude. I'm like getting excited already. Just like, holy shit. What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking a Rolling Rock beer straight out of St. Louis, Missouri, and a whiskey sour, as usual.
I am drinking something completely new called Wild Citrus. Alcoholic citrus soda. The can is pretty wild too.
It's
Putting
good.
the bite in soda. So this is alcoholic soda.
Well, is it any good? That's the real
I
question.
don't know. 4.5 alcohol.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Where are you from? You know what? I don't care where you're from. I'm gonna see what you taste like.
Just drink it.
Ooh. Well,
What would you like to talk about, Nick?
how bad this fucking tastes. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
kidding. I'm kidding.
Is
Here,
it
take a
that
sip.
bad?
Take a sip. Rolling Rock has been one of my favorites. I know that, but that's
It's
little
a
like
sweet.
it's like a flat Mountain Dew.
Yeah, but
But-
with alcohol in it.
Yeah.
At least it's got alcohol in it, you know?
Yeah.
That's always a good thing. It really is.
Well, I think the subject we should talk about in this episode is what changed. You know, from our last podcast. What happened? You know, what's life been like?
Well, fuck, man. Honestly, not a whole lot. Really. I mean, I'm still doing the probation thing. Woohoo. I'm still basically doing the same thing as far as skating, painting stuff. I paint a lot of stuff. I can talk about that a little bit. I've done some things since then. And then also just, I've been getting involved a lot with this nonprofit that me and one of a good friend of mine named David have set up right now. That's basically what has changed. Not a whole lot.
I think I remember you and David talking about that
Yeah.
a little bit ago.
It's cool stuff. We just got our last bit of paperwork from the state that we need to do the thing as far as be a nonprofit and also kind of not pay ourselves, but get it running to where we can actually do stuff. Our first event should be this spring. We're basically focusing on elderly, youth, and veterans in Henry County. That's basically where all our money's going. And our first initiative is we're going to do something basically called it's basically like a bucket list as far as what we're going to pick candidates, and then we're going to basically do what we can within reason to help them fulfill at least one thing on their bucket list.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be really, really fun. I'm very, very excited about it. It's also one of those things to where growing up around here, I never really had any of that outreach, and I will applaud our community as far as the fact that we're doing a whole lot more as far as like youth, terminally ill, veterans, and elderly people. And that's just super awesome, honestly, for coming from a place like Newcastle. It's just one of those things that I've always wanted to do, but never had the opportunity to do, and now I do, so we're doing it.
I did see that that the skate park had this like really big
Oh yeah,
event
the Pointers
with,
Gym.
I think it was that
Yeah.
with all the bikes and whatnot.
Yeah, that was like what, like 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually a little bit a part of that. I skated in it. I didn't really compete in anything, just because I wanted to give it to the kids. You know what I mean? I didn't want to clog all that up. But I was there. Yeah, it was good shit. Good turnout, definitely. Also, a decent amount of money put into it, which is good to see. Honestly, it's not all about the money, but the fact that people are putting money into it is change. And they're really, really getting the youth inspired to start ripping, which is awesome. They need that. They do.
I did see a video or two of it, and I do know that at least one kid got a new bike.
Mm-hmm.
That was really fucking cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they gave at least one or two new bikes. They definitely did a product toss as far as like shirts, stickers, wheels, bearings, that sort of thing. And then they were giving away prizes for longest power slide and best trick for skateboards. Yeah.
Hell yes.
Yep.
What do you think your challenges are going to be with David being in Hartford City now?
Oh, not a whole lot, honestly. He's been working on that house for a long time, and I'm really, really happy for him and Abby, just for the fact that they are getting ready to renovate and totally redo that place because it's a big place, and we'll be able to throw events there. We'll be able to use it kind of as a home base for all this, and that's nice. You know, we're gonna need it. There's a lot. I'm not the only person involved. There's another probably 8 to 10 people involved in it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, my title is basically trustee or treasurer. That's my title for doing this nonprofit organization. But also, it's one of those things to where like the only reason I got that job is because my mom is an accountant. Okay, that's the only reason. Like I will do everything I can to make sure the money gets done and stuff. But it's really gonna be my mom that's doing all the bookkeeping. And she's doing it for free. She doesn't want a damn dime, which is awesome. Congrats to Becky for that one.
Congrats to Becky.
Yeah, for helping out the youth. But, but it'll be good. That's the only reason I have that title. They just really, really they saw that I was very, very interested in it and had some good ideas and was really, really easy to work with. So it's one of those things to where they want me involved heavily.
Hell yeah,
which is
dude.
awesome. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, with me, the last, that was our 4th podcast, and we're on number 11, I do believe. This is either 11
I'm
or
pretty
12.
sure I was on the one right after Devin.
Yep, yeah. There was first podcast at Rose's, I do believe, and then the second podcast was also at Rose's, I do believe. The third one was with Dev, and then the 4th one was with you, I do believe. The 4th one maybe back in April. So,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So
April,
now,
May,
it being
something like
October, yeah, a few things have changed, I guess. Yeah, sure. I'd say the biggest thing for me would be being outgoing, and whatnot. I used to be outgoing when I was younger, but I don't know, something happened to where I would hit this like mental wall and I wouldn't be able to communicate very well.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to like talk freely.
Just spill it all out.
Spill it all out. And lately I've been sticking up for myself too. Some people have it in their head to where they can take advantage of me and it's okay. Maybe they don't even realize it or whatnot, but they have been,
That's something that almost most people can relate to, especially in our generation.
Yeah, but
It's happened to you one time or another.
it's happened a while. Like in my
continuously happening.
always, there's always somebody out there to like
Try and
at least take advantage of you in some way.
yeah.
but
Whether it be
I never
monetarily or
stick up for
emotionally
myself,
or whatever. Whether it be monetarily, emotionally, or
Mostly emotional. Oh,
see, for me, it was kind of the other way around. I'm not gonna lie. I was actually always really kind of good at realizing when somebody's full of shit, and most of the time it would be with money. Whether it be like, oh, you're my good friend, or you're somebody that was romantically involved with, or whatever, and they would just, and at the time, and I still don't mind, honestly, if you really need it, I do not mind. That's probably just part of my personality. But also, it got to a point to where it's not that I was like going flat broke or anything, but they would just take advantage of it, you know what I mean? And just run with that.
do you think something as simplistic as bumming for cigarettes is a big deal to you?
No. To me personally, no. No, not at all.
I always wonder because I do bum cigarettes a lot off of my friends,
Yeah.
and I always wonder if that's like a thing, like, hey, you got another cigarette?
Well, I feel like that's different for certain types of people, don't get me wrong, but for me personally, no, not at all. Just because if the way that I would look at it, a cigarette's damn near a quarter,
Yeah.
Like, I would give anybody, anyone, I don't care who you are, I'll give you a quarter, And like, yeah, sometimes it'll add up, don't get me wrong, if you're doing it for years and years and years, but also, if you're my friend, I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't. Some people, I've seen people freak out over it though. I really have.
I haven't seen that yet, but
I want to say as far as like, oh, dude, you're always bumming, or you're always, that sort of shit. And to me, that like, I would always sit back and whenever I would see stuff like that, and be like, man, it's just a fucking quarter.
see,
Like,
the way I've been smoking, because I just now started smoking this year, it's not exactly like addicting.
Yeah.
It's just, well, yeah, it is fucking addicting. It's it's a thing in the back of your mind that if your friends are doing it, you want to do
Is
it
it
too.
more of a social thing?
It is more of a social thing. Like, I wouldn't be smoking right now, you know, if
I wouldn't
I wasn't
have
offered. Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, just like a beer.
Yeah.
But the point I was making earlier is, lately I've been a little standoffish with
Yeah.
even my closest of friends, you know, because I know where the line is drawn and I know where I need to stick up for myself, finally. But I've always been like a little bitch about it.
A lot of people don't even know how to draw that line. So I applaud you on that, sir. I really do. Because a lot of people don't even know how to.
I got to stand up for myself, and I got to realize that things will be okay if we're really, really good friends. You know, like I'm always afraid that if I'm standoffish, that it'll end a friendship or something. You know,
Yeah,
and that
but
means a lot to me. Friends mean a lot to me.
I agree with you there. The friends mean a lot to me too. But with me being here, there, and everywhere, as far as like I don't just hang out here. I've got a lot of friends in a lot of different places, and we all live our own lives. You know, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things to where I feel like maybe a little bit more understanding of certain aspects. You know, everybody goes through shit. They do. Everybody goes through certain things in their lives to where they want to isolate and they want to. I wouldn't even call it depression.
I'd call it introspective.
Exactly. That's probably a really, really good word for it, actually. They want to do those things for themselves.
Self-internalize.
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
Because as good as friends are, the only thing that matters is how you handle things. You know?
That's true.
And how
like,
I'm handling things lately is introspectively.
For me, like, I've had a lot of friends that are lifelong friends, you know what I mean? Like, straight up lifelong friends that I haven't talked to in, you know, months or whatever, but I'll always try and send that, hey, what's up, or just try to catch up text, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't, and it doesn't change my view of them at all.
Same with
It really
me.
doesn't.
Same
you
with
know?
me.
Like, because I've been through that myself. Everybody goes through certain things like that, and you just kind of need to either give them the space or give them the help when they ask for it. And that's one thing that I hate, honestly, about our generation is we hate asking for help. We don't know how to do it. We don't want to do it. We don't. There's many, many reasons why we don't.
I think it's an adolescent thing. It's
Yeah,
it's
true,
getting
too.
older. It's more depending on yourself more than everyone else.
Yeah,
You know, because
but-
you need to. You know,
Yeah.
you can't ask for help with every turn you
With
make, with
everything.
everything that's uncomfortable. You can't be.
But with some things, like especially like mental health and like I don't know, even like monetarily, like I feel like that's why GoFundMe was made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not wrong. You know, it's not wrong for people to do that sort of thing. That's my true belief. And I feel like if enough people start doing it, it'll become normalized instead of it being such a big stigma attached to it.
Yeah.
As far as like you're doing this for mental health or you're doing this for monetary reasons or you're just seeking attention. Because I don't think that that's what it is all the time. Sometimes people just need to know that they're wanted, you know?
Mm-hmm. I do know somebody in particular that needs to feel like they're wanted, but maybe for the wrong reasons. I think he needs to.
That's a thing too.
I think he really needs to internalize and not rely on everybody else to be
fix
an
the
emotional
problems for
blanket.
him.
you
Yeah.
know? There's one
Yeah,
big problem
it's
that
kinda
he's
like
facing.
Lionel.
You know.
Like if you've ever watched Charlie Brown, it's kind of like Lionel with his blanket, except instead of it being a comfort item that's physical, it's a basically an emotional thing that they have to have wrapped around them all the time.
With this particular person, it's obviously alcohol to kind of numb it a bit, and I don't understand that concept because I've never
I do.
used. I don't. I've always drank to have fun, and
Yeah.
I've always drank to like just unwind, relax. You know, sometimes to get a little hammered and
Yeah.
like really feel it. You know,
Yep.
sometimes I drink too much, and who doesn't? But
There's
one time I've drank to maybe try to alleviate
Blackout,
that.
or-
Not blackout, but like see what it's like to numb it. And it didn't work. I was suicidal at
It
the
only
time.
works for like a very, very short period of time.
Mhm.
And I can speak from experience as far as like, it's one of those things where in my younger years, I used to do that a little bit, but I realized what I was doing while I'm doing it every time, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. But it was also an easy solution to forget about it that one night.
Yeah.
It doesn't
but-
make anything go away. It doesn't make anything better.
No.
But also it makes it go away for one night. And sometimes I understand that people want that, crave that, and also need that in a certain way. Even though it's detrimental to your mental health, your physical health. Both.
Definitely.
And it's one of those things to where I don't sympathize with it, but also I understand it because I've done it.
Same. Well, I haven't done it so much to realize like
What you're
it's
doing.
like. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for this friend of mine, he's been doing it for a while, and he needs to realize that he needs to do it on his own. He can't
Yeah,
rely
it's
on
not gonna
something
work.
else to
Well,
fix it.
I feel like he's relying on it day in, day out. You know what I mean? That's just for me from the outside perspective. Relying on it day in, day out to get rid of his problems, not solve them, get rid of it.
It just seems like any like amount of discomfort seems to be alleviated with alcohol or anger. And that's
Some of the
if it works for you, then sure. But it's on the outside view, it's really harmful.
Yeah,
And sometimes it does affect me.
It fucks up friendships. It fucks up yourself. It fucks up your mental health and your physical health. And also, like, it's I don't know. It's one of those things to where I've done it enough. Like I spent a lot of time sober. I spent a lot of times really not sober. And
I've been there. Oh shit. Okay.
and it works for a short period of time. It really does. Like, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against substances. I have something against substance abuse, but not substances. And being high or drunk or whatever you choose to put in your body.
See, that's what I'm trying to understand about my own mother. I'm trying to understand what the substance is to her.
Yeah.
Because it's been a major part in my life.
Yeah.
Because it affects me directly. It's my
Yeah,
mother,
oh yeah, it's your mom. Well, and speaking of moms, I got a good mom story after you're done.
Okay. So my mom's story, at least from what I understand, began pretty much when I was born. I started with alcohol, then I moved to pills, and I'm unsure of all the details on that, but
Yep.
it was a major part. And it was a lot of selfishness, too. It was, hell, during their divorce.
I feel like sometimes it's just trying to escape.
Yeah. Hell, during their divorce, she used me as a kind of like a
Bargaining
scapegoat
chip.
thing. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Like a, I don't know, an excuse, to get high and to forget about it. And I don't think she realizes how much that affects me,
As a grown adult, yeah.
We did, actually in May, sit down and actually talk about everything. And
That's
that was
good.
great because I've never connected with my parents ever
No, that's good.
on anything.
And me speaking, as far as having a really good connection with my parents, it's normal to me to do that. You know what I mean? But for other people, it's definitely not. And I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones as far as the latter. That's one of those things I never really had to worry about. But also, I know a lot of people who have.
For my mother, it was, I don't know, a way to escape a 13-year marriage that failed,
Yeah.
and that's been affecting her, hell, even to this day.
Yeah.
I can tell, I can tell when my mother's good and when my mother's good,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
recently, she's been doing really good, like being sober and whatnot, staying away from the bullshit. But
That's
when my
awesome.
brother got out of prison,
Yeah.
it started again.
Again. Well-
and it dropped my faith in my mother, and I'm not sure if that's like the right move, or if I should even have faith in this person because they're my mother.
That's your move too, and you're always gonna have some sort of primal connection to her because it's your mother.
Yeah,
But also at the same time, I get what you're saying as far as it's a lot of faith to put into somebody.
Yeah, and just somebody that I haven't really connected with, It's almost like my parents are distant friends,
Yeah.
and
I
really
can
shitty ones at
understand
that.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But I do understand, at least from the perspective she gave me when we talked, is just trying to do the best as she can as a mother, but still
And some people
wrapped in that guilt of failure,
Some people, it takes them their whole lives to figure out who they are. Me, and honestly, I kind of equate psychedelic drugs and also some of the experiences I had as a very, very young prepubescent teen with this. But I have known who I am for a really long time, and I have not strayed from that, and I love it. I love myself for who I am.
See,
And
I'm starting to find that love
Self-love is
from
such a hard thing to find.
I'm starting to find that,
It really is.
Really recently, actually,
Yeah.
I'm happy with where I am,
Yeah.
even though financially I'm pretty fucked, you know.
Yeah, but
But
that's just money. You
I'm-
can
I'm
make
happy-
and lose money all the time.
I'm actually happy being me.
Yeah,
You know.
and that's that's one of the most important parts about living, honestly, in my opinion. Like that's one of the hardest things to do, and also one of the most important things that you can do as a person, and to be mentally healthy. Because a lot of people in America are not. They may not even lie to themselves, but I think that they believe their lie. If that makes sense, they
Yeah.
kind of have gotten so wrapped up in the lies that they tell themselves about themselves, and that is detrimental
From an outside
to
view,
a lot of shit.
from an outside view, from what you know of me, what do you think I lie to myself about? From an outside
The
view.
fact that you're happy, because you're always such a happy-go-lucky person ever since I've ever met you, and sometimes I feel like it's one of those like comedy syndromes, if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
Kind of like the whole like Robin Williams classic theater comedy sort of deal. As far as you make other people happy, so that in turn makes you happy, but that's not your own internal happiness.
Yeah, actually, you nailed it right on the head there.
Uh,
I've been trying to find what makes me happy. I've been trying to find where it makes me happy too. I've been trying to find a home that's stable,
And
you know.
honestly, that's why like I do what I do as far as art, skateboards, and even my job. Like a lot of people, I serve tables for a living, serve tables, bartend, and I know a lot of people that do it just because of the money and absolutely hate their job. I genuinely like doing that, even though some days are hell and I feel like I just fought a war. But also, it's one of those things that makes me happy to make somebody else's day, or to be good with the kids, or just to, whatever. I've got a really good story about that, actually. My first serving job ever was at Bob Evans here in Newcastle. And there was a guy who would come in, he was in his late 80s, and his wife had died. And I knew his wife too before she passed. And he would come in and he would request me every single time as a server. He knew my schedule. And he basically would just, I would take the time, I would take my break whenever he was there and sit and eat with him, or just sit and talk with him. And I know for a fact that that made his day until the day he died. I actually went to his funeral, and he would always tip me in these very, very rare coins. And he told me that from the beginning. He didn't do it first off, you know what I mean, like the first few times or whatever. But once I formed a connection with him, he would tip me in these rare coins, and he said, do not ever spend these. These are worth some money. And then whenever I decided to go, basically, I was getting ready to go to college, I went and got them appraised. He left me over $2,000 in rare coins.
Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah, and it's shit like that. Like I love my job. I really do, like a lot. And a lot of people say that like serving and bartending is kind of like a meaningless job. It's not. I make more than school teachers. I make more than cops. I make more than most people. You know what I mean? Like I'm basically middle class by the age of 22, and that to me is very, very meaningful. It really is. It's one of those things that I really, really enjoy doing, and also your tips are going to reflect what you make, but also your tips are going to reflect how good your service is and how much you want to be there.
Mm-hmm. Like with me in Montgomery's,
Yeah.
I actually feel happy working there, each tip, makes me happy because
It's instant gratification.
Yeah, it is. And I've always done things with delayed gratification too, like Grady, working there.
Yeah.
I think that's the closest to the most stable I've ever been in my life.
What, when you're working Grady?
Mm-hmm. But I wasn't happy.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, you were not happy.
I was third shift, so I couldn't get sleep.
Yeah.
It was hot as fuck in there, and I wasn't appreciated as an employee. But
Yeah.
where the fuck are you appreciated as an employee?
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to find. And if you do find it, you should probably keep it.
It was
you know?
it was the little fucking things that shouldn't have, drove me away. I should have just stayed with it, but it also made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Being stable,
No,
if
I
that
get
makes
that.
any sense.
No, it does. It makes total sense. A lot of people crave chaos. And
It's not a chaos thing. It's
one of those
just what I'm
people.
used to.
Yeah.
I'm used to sleeping on couches. I'm not used to having my own things, you know,
Yeah.
something I've built for myself.
And-
And I had that once, and it also scared me away, you know.
Yeah.
And the fallout from that is I don't get to see my daughter every day. Hell, I don't get to see her for months at a time now because they live far away.
Yeah.
And that's a heavy toll on me, you know.
Well, how does it make you feel whenever you do get to see your daughter? I feel like not enough people ask you questions
I feel
on
like
this shit.
I feel like when I'm by myself, it feels like I'm walking around at night and there's no lights on in any
Just
houses, you know. But when I'm
aimlessly.
around my daughter, it's like all the lights are on, you know. I know where the fuck I'm going. And I think without that there, it's really hard to find out where I'm going.
Yeah. I don't know. I can totally see where you're coming from. You know, it's one of those things that I know that gives you straight up gratitude.
It's a
As far as
drive.
being a dad.
Yeah, as a dad, it gives me a drive to better myself, you know, because I haven't.
Yeah.
And even lately, with me not bettering myself, it's made me feel like less of a man, you know, less of a
Yeah.
father, less than anything, you know, especially lately, the last 2 months.
And well, that's not that bad. You know what I mean? It's really not.
Some people have it way worse.
Yes,
I know that.
That's
but
well,
that's me comparing.
That's honestly not what I'm getting at either. I'm getting at the fact that at least you feel that, and you want to be the best person that you can be for
I
your
want to be the
daughter.
best father I can be, but I
Yeah.
can't when I'm less than a co-parent, you know? And that, you know, makes me think about where the fuck I'm going.
Well, the legal system, as far as like families in America, whether they're together, separated, divorced, whatever,
Yeah.
is kind of hard. It's hard to navigate. It really is.
I mean, I think it's more of a personal thing than like a legal thing.
Yeah.
It's it's me trying to find like the perfect job, you know, the one that pays enough and the one that supports
And
my
the one
daughter
that you
and
like.
the one I like, you know, because at the end of the day, too, it matters if I'm happy as well.
Yeah.
I had lived for a long fucking time thinking that my daughter was the only thing important when my happiness is also important.
Yeah,
know?
you have to give yourself some self-worth, or you can't be worth yourself for your daughter.
You know, what stories am I going to tell my daughter right now? You know,
Right.
I haven't really experienced life
Yeah.
all too much. Besides the last year, I've experienced a lot.
See, and that's where I'm super lucky, with me traveling, skating, with me doing all the stuff I've done with art, with me, and I recognize that I am lucky. Like, I'll be 23 in November. I'm not that old at all. I've worked probably 9, 10 different really good jobs that have taught me a lot about everything, and I've done it all without a college education.
Exactly.
And
Like me too. I've worked at Grady, the financial like dead end. You know, like you're gonna make enough money to live on for the rest of your life. You
yeah,
know,
to
and
live
have a lot of
basically
spending money too.
comfortably. Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess I was unsure of that life. You know,
Yeah.
because you know,
Well,
uncomfortable.
you can get stuck in it too, really quick.
Yeah, doing something for somebody else when I have way more to express than that.
Yeah.
Through filmmaking, through music, through everything else.
And that's how I feel too.
The
with
trouble
my
is
art.
getting started. You know.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You've known me. The fucking what's the last video I've made?
Yeah, that's true.
Probably the one for Millie.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
last video I made, and I've made all these projects and I've done all these
I
things.
actually
but
remember seeing you the night after you made that, and you and me talking about it. As far as I was like, dude, that was fucking dope. As far as cinematic perspective of it, but also like you really, really love your daughter. You and me actually, we had that conversation. And that was I clearly remember that actually.
New development. The guy from Blue October, Justin, the
Yeah.
lead singer, he saw that. He saw that video, and he told me it was beautiful. You know, but my own daughter and Jenna have not seen it.
No, but that's fucking awesome too, though. As far as at least you're getting some sort of recognition from it.
Yeah, but it's not the
Maybe
recognition I want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get that.
I appreciate the shit out of it. You know,
Yeah.
like holy crap,
Well,
the
that
guy
lets you
that
know that you're
influenced
good at
this
your
entire
craft.
thing.
It does.
You know?
That lets you know that you're good at your craft. It does, and that's worth not more than your daughter's recognition at all.
I feel like I'm not
But-
good at my craft thoh because I
Nah,
don't do
every
it.
artist feels that way. I think
mean,
my paintings
'cause I don't
suck,
do it.
and I've sold paintings worth thousands. You know what I mean? Like I get that. I do, and like it to me, it doesn't really. It's not that I just think I suck. There's just always a way to improve on what I'm doing, all the time.
I think the way I would improve when it comes to filmmaking and music is fucking doing it, you know? I still have the caffeining still written down, you know, for us to do.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
That was like 5 months ago or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I have all the tools and shit to do it, but I don't do
You
it.
just haven't gotten at it yet, and we'll see. My thing is, I've been writing. I'm writing a book. The title is going to be like 1 through 25, a cautionary tale.
Just the years growing up, 1 through 25.
Yep.
I thought about doing the same thing.
Yep,
Ever since the divorce from my parents, it started me on this path, you know, of living from couch to couch and experiencing life through my friends.
Mine is more so like skating, early drug use, and also just growing up. And I hate to use the term because it may sound egotistical, but like being a smart millennial.
Well, don't hate the term.
I do.
So many
though.
people do. They're too introspective, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're too critical of their own feelings. You know, like they're too afraid. Not afraid, but like
No,
caution.
I
you know?
get where you see the term afraid, because I'm not gonna lie. It's not that I'm afraid to put myself out there. I'm afraid of the criticism
Well, don't be afraid
I'm
of
gonna
it.
get.
Criticism is always a thing. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's
always
also
gonna
a
be
tool
thing.
you can use to improve.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. But in today's media, and especially today's world, it's not also just about criticism. It's just downright hatred sometimes.
Sometimes, and that can put you down.
Yeah. And that's why, well, my dad's published a few books, and I'm hooked up with a publishing company through him.
Can I wear your hat?
Yeah. But
Sorry, random.
fucking, that's one of those things that kind of scares me, is that I have such an easy good in. You know, I could publish some shit. I could.
You ever gonna
could.
cut your hair, sir?
No.
That's the way I am right now. I'm not gonna cut my hair.
Maybe someday, but shit, I don't have a court date or a funeral to attend, so no. Oh, I got that crazy mom story for you.
Oh,
This
go
happened
ahead.
last
Go
week.
ahead. I'm gonna smoke another.
Yep, go ahead.
It's like the I don't know, the vibe of
This-
it. You know,
Yeah.
just for everyone that can't see it, we're sitting at Roadhouse and we're in the back with the pool tables. You know, kind of dimly lit, kind of hot as hell, but you know it's comfortable. Just a lot of smoke in the air and some beers. That's about it. You know, I like the glow from that Coors Light.
Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, so last week I had a very, very traumatic experience with my mother.
What happened?
I got off work early. I was supposed to get off around 9, got off around 7:30, walked to my door like anything was usual because I'm living with my parents right now. And basically I walked in, changed clothes. I was actually getting ready to walk out the door. And then I hear a little yelp as far as like, Derek, you know. And I go in my parents' bedroom, and my mom is laying there passed out on the floor with her throat swollen shut. And I'll give some context here. She had gotten stung by 2 bees. For those of you who don't know my mom, which is probably everybody listening, it's one of those things to where she was never allergic to bees, ever in her life. She got stung 2 years ago, and I can remember it, and nothing happened, you know, regular bee sting. And since then, she's been diagnosed with diabetes and maybe a few other minor health issues, nothing crazy. And the older she gets, allergies change for you. And basically, she was, you know, going into anaphylactic shock. And if I wouldn't have gotten off work in the time that I would have, she would have died. I had cops out there, ambulances, all the whole 9 yards, because I started to talk to her. I went and got Benadryl to see if that would work, you know, and then that didn't do a thing. She was just kind of foaming at the mouth, and also just, you could tell that her throat was swelling, you know, like her face was all puffy, she was getting clammy, she was super hot, all that sort of stuff. So called 911, did the thing. They were awesome. I'm not a big fan of police, but also at the same time, they did a very, very good job. That doesn't mean to say that I'm a fan of, I'm just basically not a fan of police brutality, but we've got some good people here as far as first responders. And it just kind of blew my mind how of course I called my dad. My dad was in a meeting because he works for the local newspaper here, and he was in Spiceland at the time, and she sent him a text, but she didn't send me a text. I just happened to get there when I got there. My dad got there about half an hour later, and while she was already in the ambulance, and they had already kind of done some shit. And it was one of those things to where if I wouldn't have got there in that sort of time, she probably would be dead. Probably.
It sucks.
I mean, yeah, it sucks, but I've dealt with a lot of tragedy in my life. I've had a lot of my good friends die from overdoses, gunshots, diseases, whatever. Most of the things that are traumatic in America, I have dealt with. And that was just one of those things that it put it into perspective, because my parents are a little older. I'll be 23 in November, but my mom is 61, my dad's 62.
Damn.
Yeah.
Are you an only child?
No, one of two. My sister is the head pharmacist here at CVS, and she's 30?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
30. I actually graduated with Jenny, but
What?
yeah. Or well, with Jenny or grade above Jenny, one of the two. And that's kind of how I know Jenny, actually. But yeah, it's just one of those things to where that made me think a whole lot about not even only life or death, but also I'm going to have to deal with these things because my parents are so much older. And in the same month, I also lost my last grandpa, which is not a bad thing. He was in hospice for about 6 months before then. And it actually, you came up to me that night because I was drinking and, being sad. And you're like, I don't know what you're going through, but I'm here for you. Yeah, you remember that night?
Yes, I do.
That was the same night that he died. But yeah, I've just had a hell of a month. I've had a weird one. I really have. I've had a weird month. And to me, it's bad because it's sort of normal to me, as fucked up as that sounds.
No, it sounds.
But
I know.
I'm kind of okay with it. Like it's just one of those things to where it's just another day. And that's not good. I know that's not good. Like I drink a lot. I'm prescribed a decent amount of stuff. And it's just one of those things to where I just deal with that shit normally. And it's kind of weird. But
Do you ever break down about it?
yeah. Yeah, at least like, I don't know, once every 4 or 5 months. I'll have one weekend or a few days where I just get totally fucked.
I think the weight of my grandpa passing away in May is going to catch up to me pretty soon. Because it hasn't yet. I don't even think I've cried yet. For it.
And I feel like I'm honestly on a decent level of dealing with my trauma as it comes. It's not that it stays with you forever, but also I feel like I've had a good run as far as like, not even a run, but I know how to deal with it because it's happened to me so much. And especially with like the whole like grandpa thing, that was very, very expected. I had time to prepare for that one, and with a lot of my friends passing, there was no time to prepare, there was no warning, there was no anything. It was just something that happened. Wrong place, wrong time, or diseases suck, or it is what it is. And like I've dealt with that myself. Like I've never really like OD'd or anything like that, but like with drugs, and I've also been hit by cars like skating, and I've had some near-death experiences, which have kind of like influenced the way that I think about life and death. It's just natural for me almost.
I think if there was one word to sum up the last year, it would be influence. Either from friends or from events and whatnot.
For you?
Yeah. I feel like influence is a big word for me.
Yeah.
Either from me to my friends, or my friends to me, or events that I go through, Influence. It's the biggest thing. The last time I saw my grandpa was at my grandma's, and he was just sitting there in the counter, ashes.
Yeah.
And it was weird holding him too.
Yeah, oh yeah. You get a certain feeling whenever, especially if you're, I don't want to use the word smart, but if you're in tune with what is going on, you're just like, shit, I am holding my dead relative. right now, and that's always heavy. It's just fucking heavy, man.
It sucks too because everybody else expects something from my grandma, which is fucked up. I told her, I'm not gonna be like that. I'm not wanting like a fucking will or anything like that. I just want his reading glasses. You know, my grandparents, the Carpenters on my dad's side. The only thing I got from them, glasses. Reading glasses. And when my grandma passes away, that's what I'll have as well.
Yeah.
Probably the most important physical items to me.
Well, speaking of that, my grandpa had a collection of Fenton glass, which is a certain type of glassware, basically like cutlery, dishware, and all sorts of stuff. It's you would know it if you saw it. It's basically the glass that has bubbles in it, and they stretch out. There's different colors of them, but he collected light blue flame glass, and he had everything. He had the whole collection, and that's all the grandkids are getting, and that. It's just something to remember him by, like it'll always be there.
I wish I got his cowboy hat too, because I kind of like wearing it.
No, well, hell yeah, cowboy hats are dope.
I went up there about a week ago, and it was the first time I'd been up there since he passed away, Yeah. And I just went up to the lake, and I soaked everything in, and that was my moving on thing,
Yeah.
Is just experiencing the lake, because that's always been like a staple of my childhood, is going up to the farm and going to the lake, and because it's peaceful, It's that space where I feel comfortable.
Yeah, and also he would enjoy it too. Like mine, I've kind of got a similar one on that one, as far as
well, hell, where's the place you go to be comfortable? Or is there
honestly,
such a place?
I'm comfortable everywhere as long as I am in my own skin and comfortable. But I can give you one solid place that I'm the most comfortable: Grateful Dead shows.
Grateful Dead shows?
Yeah.
How come?
Yep. Number one, we all know I love psychedelic drugs. Also, it's just my type of people. You can turn to the person next to you, not know them, give them a hug and a kiss, and they're not going to punch you.
And they
They accept it.
They fucking get it.
Yeah. Yep, and we're all, like, there's a certain sort of ambiance and basically almost like magical feeling of being in an arena with 25,000 people who are all not just like you, but understand.
They get it.
Yes.
And
there's a lot.
It's hard to come by with me.
yeah.
My friend group is very close.
So
I don't have a lot of friends, but the friends I do have, I care a lot about.
Exactly. I know that by being one of them. I really do. You're a great person. But that would be what I would equate to basically being home. Like, I have a home, and I go home, and I sleep there, and all that bullshit. But that, to me, like, it's just somewhere I sleep and somewhere I eat, And it's nothing against my parents. It's nothing against anybody. It's just one of those things to where I don't feel heard, And
I get that.
there's one of those places, like, festival, like, certain festivals, like, I don't know, like, probably the easiest one as far as festival-wise would be, it's in Michigan. I'll think of it in a second. But Dead shows and Electric Forest. Yeah, Electric Forest, man. I've been to Electric Forest probably 4 times, and it's one of those things that's the same thing. It's just a big community where no one knows. Well, and maybe you do know people there, you know what I mean? Like, there's been times I've been back and seen the same people from previous years, and it's like, dude, what's up? And we live on totally different sides of the country.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and it's really, really nice. It's really good to do, and that's honestly where I feel most at home, because I can do what I want. I can be not even the freak that I am, but also be the open person that I am without judgment.
The one place I feel comfortable is the road, driving. It gives me a sense of control, because I can go as fast as I want to, or I can go where I want to,
I get that with skating. It's a different type of being on the road. But touring, you know what I mean? Like, I'm with my buddies. All we're out here to do is skate, party, and do what we can do for the company, signings, demos, all that good shit. And that was one of those places that I also felt really, really home. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to wrap it up. We have to get out of here. It's about closing time. This has...
Closing time.
I'd say...
Call for alcohol, so get your 2 pints and your beer.
Yeah. I'd say this has been a really good fucking episode, actually.
Yeah, this is a good one.
First one was a good fucking episode. This one was even better. We are probably going to head back to my place and have a part 2 of this. And just go probably way deeper into it because we don't have a time limit and whatnot.
Yep.
So, I'm just going to close it out with... This has been the 2 Pints Radio Show with your host, that Nick guy, and my very special guest...
D-Rad.
D-Rad, yeah. And we are at the Roadhouse in Newcastle, Indiana. Come
Best
by.
steaks in town.
Junie May is the bartender most of the time, and she's a really cool fucking person. So, if you're up here, give her a tip. She'll fucking serve you like no one other. So, hey, this is the 2 Pints Radio Show. We're probably going to continue with episode 2, or, part 2, coming up pretty sure. Shortly. Yep, shortly.
Yep.
Kick back with a 6-pack of beers and just probably have some music in the background and, fucking get to it. So, thank you all for listening. And that's it.
Thank you, guys. Sweet.